I wasn't expecting a birthday invitation, but I wasn't expecting this either. Dad didn't even look at me when he said it. He stood by the kitchen sink, rinsing his coffee mug like it was any other Thursday, while I stood a few feet away, holding the gift I had already bought for Mom, wrapped in soft lavender paper, her favorite color. "You're an embarrassment. Don't come home." Just like that. No pause, no warning, not even a raised voice. Just final. I blinked, confused at first, like maybe I had misheard. "What?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. He set the mug down with a little more force than necessary, turned around slowly, folded his arms. "You showing up would only cause tension. Your sister wants this to be peaceful. So does your mom." "My sister. Of course." I opened my mouth to respond, but no words came out. I wasn't angry. Not yet. Just stunned, like my body hadn't caught up to what was happening. "You can mail the gift if you want," he added, nodding toward the lavender box in my hands. "But don't show up. It's better that way." I should have said something. Anything. But all I could manage was a small nod. "Okay." He looked surprised that I didn't argue. Maybe he was expecting a fight. A breakdown. Maybe he wanted me to make a scene so he could say, "See, this is why." But I didn't. I turned, walked to the door, and paused only once, long enough to place Mom's gift on the side table by the entrance. I didn't trust myself to say goodbye, so I didn't. As I stepped outside, the cool air hit, my face like a wake-up slap. My phone buzzed in my pocket. It was a calendar notification I'd forgotten to delete. Mom's birthday, 2 days. I stood there on the porch for a moment, staring at that notification. Then I deleted it. Not the event, just the reminder. I didn't need one anymore. At home, I sank into the couch without turning on the lights. No tears came, which surprised me. Usually I cried after things like this, but this time I just sat there, numb, still, watching nothing. It wasn't just about being uninvited. It was the way it had happened. So casual, so clean, like they'd discussed it already, like I'd been cut from the guest list long before I ever showed up. "You're an embarrassment," that part echoed. Not "we're upset with you," not "you've hurt us." No conversation, just condemnation. A label slapped on my forehead like a rejected stamp. Maybe it started years ago. Maybe I just didn't notice. But in that moment, sitting in the dark, I made myself a quiet promise. I wouldn't prove him wrong with words. I'd prove him wrong with silence. And when the time came, I wouldn't need to say a thing. This wasn't the first time they made me feel like I didn't belong. It just happened to be the most honest. Growing up, I was the quiet one, the helper, the one who got good grades, remembered birthdays, kept the house clean when Mom wasn't feeling well. No one ever asked me to. I just thought that's what daughters were supposed to do. Meanwhile, my sister Lauren was electric, loud, charming, a little reckless, but always forgiven. She had this ability to walk into a room and make everyone turn toward her. People called it charisma. I called it gravity. And in our house, gravity always won. When we were kids, Mom used to call us her sun and moon. Lauren was the sun, bright, loud, impossible to ignore. And I was the moon, quiet, consistent, only noticed when things went dark. That pattern didn't change when we got older. When Dad lost his job 6 years ago, I was the one who moved back in quietly and helped cover the mortgage. They didn't ask. I just did it. I remember writing that first check, $1,462.25, and thinking, it's okay, it's temporary. He just needs time to get back on his feet. He never really did. But the checks kept coming, every month, like clockwork. There were months I skipped meals just to make sure their utilities didn't get shut off. I'd sit in my tiny studio apartment, counting change from a glass jar while scrolling through photos of their family dinners on Facebook. No one ever tagged me. No one ever even noticed I wasn't there. And Lauren, she was off to New York by then. Glamorous job, loud Instagram stories, posing in restaurants I couldn't afford to drive past. When she came home for holidays, it was all about her. Her career, her new boyfriend, her matching sweaters with Mom. I usually stayed quiet, washed the dishes, took pictures, held the phone while they filmed cake-cutting videos for Facebook. I was always behind the camera, never in the frame. 3 years ago, when Mom got sick and needed surgery, I took a loan from my emergency savings and paid the hospital deposit, $6,800. No questions asked. No reimbursement. No thank you card. Just a text from Dad saying, they said they'll schedule it early next week. Not thank you, just information. Lauren sent flowers. She got praise for being thoughtful. It wasn't the money that hurt me. It was how invisible I felt. Like my help was never real unless it was performative. Unless it came with balloons or a post or a camera flash. The worst part? I started to believe them. I started to think maybe I was just forgettable. Maybe being overlooked was my fault. Maybe I was born to be second. Even when I got promoted at work, quietly, to project lead on a major campaign, I told Mom over dinner one night. She smiled and said, "Oh, that's nice, honey." Then looked over at Lauren's phone. She just posted a reel. Look how pretty she looks in this blue dress. I had spent 3 years building that campaign. Lauren had spent 3 seconds picking a filter. Guess which one got more attention? So when Dad said, "You're an embarrassment, don't come home," it wasn't the first time I'd felt erased. It was just the first time they'd said it out loud. And honestly, it felt like freedom. That night, I opened my laptop and pulled up my financial tracker, all the transfers I had made to help with their house, medical bills, groceries, car repairs. The total, $18,274, add in the birthday. Gifts, event hosting, emergency cash for just a few days that never returned. It crossed $22,000. My name wasn't on a single document in that house. Not the mortgage, not the deed, not the lease on the car I'd co-signed. Nothing. It hit me then, hard, that I wasn't their daughter anymore. I was their silent insurance policy, and I'd just been canceled. So I shut the laptop, and instead of crying this time, I smiled. Because now there was nothing holding me back. Not guilt, not obligation, not false hope. Nothing. They had closed their door, but they'd just opened mine. I didn't announce anything. I didn't post a quote or write a goodbye message. I just disappeared from their dinners, their birthdays, their group chats. They didn't notice, or if they did, they didn't say anything. And that silence, that complete, echoing silence, gave me something I'd never had before: space. In that space, I started to rebuild. At first it was small, freelancing gigs, contract work, nothing glamorous. But slowly, I realized I was good at something they never bothered to ask about: structure, systems, quiet solutions to noisy problems. While they called me forgettable, companies were calling me invaluable. It started with a mid-sized startup that needed help restructuring their client pipeline. I cleaned up 6 years of chaos in 3 weeks. They referred me to another client, then another. Within 6 months, I had 4 companies on retainer. By month 9, I'd hired my first assistant. I still remember the day I got my business license, in the mail. It was a quiet Tuesday. I was eating cereal on the couch, barefoot, hair messy, TV playing in the background. And I stared at that paper for a long time. Not because it meant I had made it, but because it meant I had done it. Without applause, without permission, without anyone telling me we're proud of you. For the first time in years, I didn't need to be anyone's daughter or anyone's sister. I was mine. 3 months later, I hired someone else. He came through a referral from another founder. His name was Jordan. Smart, quiet, polite, detail-oriented. He reminded me of me. I onboarded him personally. He worked remotely at first, but quickly proved himself to be more than just capable. He was thoughtful, reliable, the kind of person you could trust with sensitive work and never have to double-check. Over time, he became my second in command. When I finally decided to lease a proper workspace, a small modern office on the 12th floor downtown, he helped design the layout. "Make sure you get the corner desk," he said with a grin. "You're the one who built this." I laughed. "I've never had a corner anything," I told him. He just smiled and said, "First time for everything." What I didn't know then, what still makes me pause when I think about it now, was that Jordan was my sister's boyfriend. Not at the time, of course. When he joined, they didn't even know each other. But somewhere along the line, maybe through a mutual friend, maybe at some social event they met, and they started dating. She never mentioned him to me. I never connected the dots, until one day Jordan came to the office looking flustered. "Everything okay?" I asked. He nodded, but his face was tight. "I just met your sister." I blinked. "What?" "She didn't know I worked here. I didn't say anything." He continued. "We've been seeing each other for a few weeks. Casual. Nothing serious. But today she saw a project folder on my desk. With your name." He paused, and she lost it. Apparently, she had said something. Like, "Why would someone like you work for someone like her?" He didn't answer. He didn't need to. He just walked out and came straight to me. I told him he didn't need to explain anything. But in that moment, something shifted. Not because he had chosen my side, but because I had finally stopped asking why people hadn't chosen it before. It wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about proving anything. It was about clarity. The people who were meant to recognize my value already had. And the ones who hadn't? They never would, and I had finally stopped trying to make them. A few weeks later, I received a generic text from my mom. "Mom's birthday is next weekend. Small gathering. Just family. No apology. No mention of what Dad had said. Just an invitation." As if the last year hadn't happened. As if I hadn't been erased, then forgotten. I stared at that text for a long time. Then I replied, "I'll think about it." And I meant it. Not because I wanted to go, but because something told me. This time, I wouldn't be the one standing in silence. I almost didn't go. Not because I was afraid, but because I wasn't sure they were worth seeing again. But something inside me, not anger, not revenge, just resolve, said, "Show up. Not for them. For me." Mom's birthday fell on a Sunday that year. Late October, breezy skies, slight chill in the air, soft sun. I wore a muted navy jumpsuit. Simple, clean, the kind that didn't shout for attention, but didn't blend in either. I showed up exactly 10 minutes late, on purpose. The living room was already packed when I walked in. Aunt Linda was holding her usual oversized wine glass. My cousin was taking photos near the gift table. Balloons arched across the fireplace. "Happy 60th, Mom." Dad saw me first. He didn't say anything, just stared. Then turned away. "Mom, approached with a polite smile that didn't reach her eyes. "You came," she said, as if it was a surprise. "I was invited," I said calmly. Before she could respond, Lauren swept in, arms wide. "Wow, look who finally decided to show up." She said it like a joke. Loud enough for the group near the fireplace to hear. I just smiled, didn't bite, didn't flinch. I handed Mom her gift, a book on coastal architecture she had once admired in a magazine. She took it, glanced at it, then turned her head to wave at someone behind me. No thank you. Not even a glance. As expected. The party moved on. Laughter, photos, speeches. I stayed near the back, sipping water. I didn't need to impress anyone. Didn't need to insert myself into conversations that weren't mine. I was just watching. Not to observe them. To remind myself who I had become. Then came the moment. Jordan walked in. Button-down shirt. Sleeves rolled up, confident but casual. He looked completely at ease. Until he locked eyes with me. His smile was instant. Honest. Pure. And then Lauren appeared beside him. She didn't know. Not yet. "Hey, babe," she chirped, grabbing his arm. He barely acknowledged her. His eyes stayed on me as he walked across the room. The noise around us softened, like the party had dropped a few decibels. Then, clear, confident, casual, he said, "Hi, boss." The room froze, like actually froze. Mid-laughs hung in the saw. Air. Forks paused mid-bite. Heads turned in slow motion. Lauren's expression cracked first. A flicker of confusion. Then realization. Then horror. Mom blinked. Looked between us like she was trying to compute a math equation in real time. Dad just stared, no expression. Jordan didn't say another word. Just nodded, slipped his hands into his pockets, and walked toward the kitchen to grab a drink. And I stood there, completely still. I didn't smirk, didn't gloat, didn't explain. Because the truth doesn't need backup dancers. It just stands there, quiet and undeniable. Lauren followed him, obviously trying to whisper something urgent. He kept his voice low, calm, confident. I caught one sentence as he passed me again. "Maybe next time, ask what people do for a living." She turned pale. Within 10 minutes, half the room knew. "She's his boss?" Someone whispered behind me. "Wait, she owns a company?" "No way. I thought she was doing, freelance stuff." I didn't correct them. I just refilled my water and watched the myth they'd built about me collapse, piece by piece. Mom came over a few minutes later. She tried to sound neutral. "We didn't know you were working with Jordan." "I wasn't," I said. "We've been seeing each other for months." "I know." Her voice lowered. "You could have told us. You could have asked." Silence. That kind that stretches too long and makes people uncomfortable. Then she said, "It's good to see you. Really." I smiled, not because it was genuine, but because it was familiar. Lauren didn't speak to me for the rest of the night. Dad avoided eye contact entirely. But Jordan? Before he left, he tapped my arm and said, "For what it's worth, you're the best boss I've ever had." Then he smiled, gave a casual wave, and walked out. I waited a few more minutes, then said goodbye to Mom, thanked Aunt Linda for the cake, and walked out. No drama, no fireworks. But as I stepped outside into the cool night, I heard someone whisper behind me, "She's the boss?" And for the first time in years, I didn't feel like the forgotten daughter. I felt like the woman they never saw coming. They didn't reach out the next day. No messages, no calls, no "sorry about yesterday," no "you surprised us." Just Silence. The same silence they used to erase me. Only this time, it worked in my favor. By Monday morning, I was back at my desk, my real one, the one I earned, the one no one gave me out of pity or convenience or bloodline. Jordan dropped by with the finalized Q4 report. He didn't mention the party. I didn't either. We both understood something now. Power doesn't always show up in a headline. Sometimes it walks quietly into a birthday party and changes everything without raising its voice. 2 days later, I got a message from Mom. Just 5 words. "Can we talk this week?" I stared at it for a while. Not because I was angry, but because I wasn't. Not anymore. I didn't reply. At least not right away. That weekend, I stopped by my accountant's office. We finalized the business paperwork. Expansion phase approved. 2 new team members starting next quarter. On my way out, I saw something that made me pause. A flyer on the wall about family-owned legacy firms. The irony made me smile. There was nothing legacy about mine. I had built it from scratch, and I'd done it without applause, without family dinners, without emotional safety nets, just grit and silence. The next time Lauren reached out, it was through a shared friend. Apparently, she and Jordan had stopped talking. Something about incompatibility. I didn't ask questions, didn't need to. Weeks passed, then months. I saw Mom once, at a grocery store of all places. She looked older, softer, tired. She approached me slowly like I might walk away. "I heard about your company," she said. Her voice was low, honest. "You're doing really well." I nodded. "I'm trying. I'm sorry," she said suddenly. The words caught me off guard. "I didn't know," she continued. "What you were building, what you were going through. I didn't tell you," I said simply. "But we should have asked," she whispered. I didn't respond. Some truths don't need validation. A week later, I finally replied to her old message. "We can talk. Just not about the past." She replied, "Understood. That was enough. Not forgiveness. Just forward." As for Dad, he never apologized. But one evening, I received an envelope in the mail. No return address. Inside was a photo of Mom at her birthday party. I was in the background, standing alone, calm, confident. The caption on the back read, "You didn't say a word, but you said everything." I don't know who wrote it. Maybe Mom, maybe Lauren, maybe Jordan. Doesn't matter. Because it was true. I never got my moment of applause. No grand reveal. No viral video of the boss daughter shocking the family. But what I got was better. I got peace. I got freedom. And most importantly, I got myself back. Sometimes people will love the version of you that stays quiet, stays small, stays useful. The moment you outgrow that version, they'll try to push you out, call you dramatic, call you cold, call you an embarrassment. But I've learned something. Being underestimated is exhausting. Until it's not. Until it becomes your greatest advantage. Until you walk into a room full of people who erased you, and you don't say a word. Because the truth doesn't need an introduction, it just needs the right moment. So no, I don't regret walking away. I don't regret missing the family dinners or the smiling pictures or the empty validation. Because now, when I sit at the head of the table in my office, with people who see me, respect me, trust me, I realize I never needed their table. I just needed to build my own. And the next time someone asks what I do, I won't say, "Oh, just work." I'll look them in the eye, smile softly, and say, "I'm the boss." What did this story make you think? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.